My name is Kira, and I own the Laundry Corner in San Francisco. If you haven't already checked out my other video on the 5 lessons I've learned in the first year of owning and operating our laundromat, be sure to check that one out. In this video, I'm going to answer the most common questions I get from people who are interested in laundromats. One question I get a lot is, why did you decide to buy a laundromat? At the time, my husband and I were thinking about investing in more real estate. We own a small multifamily property, but we couldn't really find anything where the cash flow made sense. And real estate has its challenges, especially in the Bay Area. When you think about it, if you own a 4 unit building, that is a pretty high customer concentration. If you are not receiving rent from one tenant, there's a quarter of your revenue. So while I would say owning real estate, in my experience, has been more passive than owning a business, there is still work involved and risk involved. And so we decided to pivot into ETA, entrepreneurship through acquisition. The idea of owning a business was really interesting and exciting to us, and we thought there was more potential for a greater ROI than if we made another real estate investment. Prior to our acquisition, I was working in commercial real estate. I was managing Class A office buildings in San Francisco, and that work had given me fundamental business skills. I had practice managing teams. And so the plan was to buy the business together and for me to step in as the operator. And I was really excited to take the skills I had developed in real estate and apply them in a new context, try something new, be completely my own boss, and really learn how to run a small business. We were interested in laundromats specifically for a few reasons. One, laundromats are really straightforward. The service is really easy to explain. It's not terribly complicated. If you are smart and you have some basic business skills, you can learn how to run a laundromat. We also liked that laundromats can offer a degree of passive income. Now, if you've watched my other video, you've heard me explain laundromats are not completely passive income. Like any business, they require work. But compared to a typical 9-to-5 job or compared to a different type of business, they do offer more opportunity for flexibility from an owner's perspective and more opportunity for passive income. And that there are times when no one's at the laundromat, neither me nor an employee, it's unattended, and it's still bringing in revenue through the self-serve customers. I spend about 10 hours a week working on the laundromat. I spend about 5 to 7 hours actually physically there and about 2 to 3 hours outside of that doing sales, marketing, payroll, admin, etc. Owning a laundromat is not my only source of income. I also broker SBA loans, which is also really flexible. And overall, this helps me create the lifestyle that I want. I'm able to spend time on the things that I really enjoy. I train and compete in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and I love being able to go to class when I want, train when I want, and overall just have a more integrated life. I'm both always working, but always living too. And owning a business is a big reason why I'm able to do that. The second question I get a lot is, how much did you buy your laundromat for and how did you finance it? We bought our laundromat for $190,000 and we financed it using a loan from a family member. The sellers were actually only taking cash offers. Otherwise, we probably would have pursued SBA or some other type of loan, but we were really fortunate to be in a position where a family member could give us a loan in order to make a cash offer. Laundromats, of course, can be purchased through SBA. There can be some challenges with that. When you have a business that's heavy on cash, there can be unreported income, discrepancies between the P&Ls and tax returns, but laundromats can be done through SBA. I think as time goes on, laundromats might get easier to finance because more and more of the revenue comes through card payments. 75% of our revenue is through one of our apps, either Sense or PayRange, so we've only got about 25% of our revenue coming in through cash. Here's another question I know a lot of people have, which a lot of the times people don't ask me directly, but I know they're wondering, and I'm going to answer it for you here. How much money does my laundromat make? There are a number of ways to answer this question and different metrics to use. I'm going to answer it through SDE, or Seller's Discretionary Earnings, which is a common way that small businesses are valuated. We've improved profitability by about 36% since we acquired our laundromat, and our current SDE is a little over $80,000. Now, if this were my only source of income, it would be kind of tough to get by in the Bay Area. But like I said, I also broker SBA loans, and I'm only putting in about 10 hours of work a week into my laundromat. That can vary though. There are some weeks when I put in more, when I need to go in last minute to help with some wash and fold orders, or an employee calls out and I need to cover. So the laundromat goes through seasons, and as an owner, you do have to be prepared to step in when your business needs you. Probably the most common question I get is, what are the biggest challenges you've faced since buying a laundromat? The number one challenge I'll say I've had is proximity. My husband and I live in Oakland. Our laundromat is in San Francisco. On a good day, if there's no traffic, it's maybe 25 to 30 minutes from door to door. But that number can really increase. Sometimes it takes an hour and a half to get into the laundromat if there's traffic. And that can be really tough when unexpected issues arise. We had a period of time where we had some old washers and we were waiting to get new ones installed, trying to keep the old ones in service, and we just kept having problems with them. People's clothes would get stuck in the machine, the door would be locked, or the machine just wouldn't start. And then I'd have to figure out, okay, am I going to drop what I'm doing and go over there? Can I call an employee? I really wished I was just a 10-minute drive, because then it would be super easy to pop over and fix things. I'm actually at a pretty stable place now, and I have not gotten a problem call in a long time, but it'll come in waves. There will be times when I get more calls and I have to do more shifting of my schedule in order to meet the needs of my business. And then there are other times where 2 months will go by and there's not a significant issue to speak of. Another challenge that I've had is with our pickup and delivery system. So we offer wash and fold, and we offer pickup and delivery for that service, which before I owned a laundromat, I did not know that DoorDash would pick up and deliver your laundry. It's actually pretty cool. So our POS integrates with Uber and DoorDash to do the pickups and deliveries. We don't have a full-time driver. Now, overall, this system works really well. I like that I can open up delivery hours for pretty much any hour of the day, and there's going to be a driver who comes and takes care of it. But of course, with this system, it's not my employee. It's not the same driver every time. So as you can imagine, that can lead to issues. I don't actually know the person who's going out and interfacing with my customers. We've had times when a driver didn't pick up the order completely. Maybe they left a bag behind, or when they couldn't find the address. When those issues arise, it does require more effort from me. I need to reach out to the support team, see if we can get another driver out there, or maybe do I need to go across the bridge and do the pickup myself? It can lead to some extra effort on my part, but I will say, at least 95% of the time, the pickups and deliveries go really smoothly. And at this point, I'm not incentivized to get a full-time driver and create our own route, because honestly, that's just not a project that I want to take on right now. I've got other things that I'm working on. Another challenge that I've had is with machines. Machines can really make or break your laundromat. If all of your machines are on the older side, expect to have more issues. Expect to need your maintenance tech to come out more often. Expect more calls from customers saying, hey, this machine ate my quarter, or this machine isn't starting, or the door won't close. In my experience, newer machines can still have problems. Problems can really happen with any machine, whether there's just an error or customer misuse, but newer machines will generally mean a smoother process. On the topic of machines, another challenge I've had is finding good maintenance techs. Initially, I was using the companies that the previous owners had been using. They're, the big box laundry repair companies. They would charge $145 just for a trip fee and then $145 an hour. And half the time, they weren't even repairing the equipment. So, what I did is I went on Craigslist and I posted an ad, and I honestly wasn't sure if it was going to lead to anything. But I ended up finding a really great repair guy who has owned laundromats for 20 years, understands the machines, is very honest, and charges a very fair price. So I was really lucky to find him. And I recommend, if you're having challenges with the bigger companies, see if you can find an independent contractor to help you out. I hope these answers were helpful to you. If you have a question I didn't answer about what it's like to acquire, own, operate a laundromat, leave it in the comments and I'll answer it in future content.